Hello everybody, this is going to be another lane support guide video as a continuation to the other ones I've done talking about the big camp pull.
Banana slam jam.
We've talked about the importance of the big camp pull, and we've shown a video where the enemy support or the support can contest the enemy from from pulling the big camp. We even had a video talking about how carries can help contest the big camp. So now we're taking it to the next step, which this is another example of Dota requiring a lot of foresight and just how important the first minute and a half before the buzzer goes off is to every role in the game. And this is coming from the 5 position. So TLDR, very important for the off lane to consider when the safe lane can pull the small camp. How impactful that is to them in the lane. Like if you're an Earthshaker, it's really important that you body block the small camp, for instance, because you fissure the wave back towards your tower, and the only way for the enemy team to fix that is usually by pulling the small camp. So that's an example where the enemy small camp would be more of a threat than in other lanes. As the safe laners, you're supposed to be very concerned about the big camp pull. So in this lane, you're against a Darkseer plus Clockwork. Darkseer Clockwork is a lane that is going to push the lane into your tower a lot, right? And then you have to ask yourself, as a Witch Doctor / Morphling, if the lane is towards my tower, the Darkseer that is, what does that mean for us? And the answer is that Clockwork with Ion Shell and Battery Assault is a huge threat. So it's a really big deal that the lane stays underneath their tower. And early game, there's nothing that we can do as an offlane duo if the Morphling is just farming underneath his tower, correct? Cool. We can't do anything to him, because once he has waveform, we can't dive him any further if he's underneath his own tower. If he has waveform outside of his own tower, we can just run at him, make him waveform, and then continue to chase him anyway. So this is an example of the thought process you should be going about when you are a 5 position entering the lane. Because you have to think about how the lane plays out if it's near your tower, how the lane plays out if it's near their tower, and just the dynamics of the lane in general, like who's in favored where and why. And that has a lot to do with whether or not you are okay or not okay with them pulling the large camp. In general, it is almost impossibly... I don't want to say it's almost impossible. In general, it's very bad to allow the offlane duo to pull the big camp, especially early game. Because as we talked about, the closer the lane is to your tower, the more favored it usually is, especially when it's like level 1 and 2. Because the safety of the tower is just so important for most carries, especially a ranged squishy one like Morphling, who requires a few levels before he becomes survivable. So in this case, if he allows the pull camp to be pulled, say the Clockwork is going to pull, then he has to ask himself, what happens if I try to contest this? And the answer is, if Witch Doctor tries to walk out to here and stop the pull, isn't he just going to potentially die to Darkseer plus Clockwork? Even level 1, Battery Assault plus Ion Shell, pretty scary, especially when he's getting chased all the way from here to right here. At the very least, he's going to take 400 or 500 damage to stop the pull, and then we'll just pull again, right? So if that's the idea, then you say, oh, well, BSJ talked about the carry potentially helping. Is a level 1 Morphling going to help the Witch Doctor? Morphling's a super weak carry. He's not some Lifestealer, Jug-S type hero that can just run in and help contest the pull camp. Even then, it's very inconvenient for a level 1 carry to contest in the first place. So, with all that being said, the lane was going quite well for Morphling. His start was quite good. He's farming pretty much freely, getting a good amount of denies, as you've seen so far. He's 3 and 3 after 1 creep wave, underneath his tower, feeling good, and the Clockwork just pulls the camp. Now, let's see what happens in the following minute or so once this camp gets pulled. Clockwork stands in front. I don't even shell him here. He doesn't even ask me to shell him. So this is all done without me shelling the Clockwork. I keep the lane outside of tower. I static the lane equilibrium, don't shell the wave or anything. Clockwork actually just solo kills the Morphling. You may say BSJ Morphling just fed there. Well, the fact that he has to play scared in the first place is a big deal. Why does he have to play scared? Notice how he was playing when the lane was near his tower. I'm getting free CS, free denies. Clockwork's running rampant over here. And look at me. I'm just chilling. Imagine if he had an Ion Shell. It'd even be more impactful. Look at this crap that they have to deal with. Well, meanwhile, I am just last hitting to my heart's content. So you can see what the offlane can do to really fuck with the safe lane. And then all this required was Witch Doctor to play this out in his head. As a high-level player, that is something you have to be trained to do. And be like, oh, we can't allow them to pull this. Oh, we can't contest if they pull this. So what's the answer? You either have to ward block or body block this camp at 1 minute. It's just that simple. You can't allow that camp to spawn. And you can see that the lane dynamic got completely ruined. I end up having a really good game where I'm out-leveling the Morphling simply because of one pull that was allowed to happen in a minute 10 that simply required a Witch Doctor having some foresight to prevent it from happening. So this is the impact that supports have in the game. The 4 position being rank 100, the 5 position being rank 450. It really shows when you see these support players in this difference of rank. That's about 1,000 MMR difference. And you can see how one guy has such a higher understanding of the laning stage compared to the other guy. And it absolutely won me the lane here. So